All right, welcome back to the KnivesFAST channel. Everybody say hello to Ren and Stimpy, Powdered Toast Man, Log TV, and Choo Choo, and let's get started with today's video. So this is my review of the Kizer Veritas, or at least that's what I'm going to say. I've heard Jacob Lundquist, who is the designer over there from Qvist Blade Works, I've heard him say Veritas, and I've heard others say Veritas, and I'm like, what the heck? And so I'm going to say Veritas because that's what Jacob says, which is not what I said earlier, but that's what I'm going to say. 3.25 inch blade, S35, stonewash blade, titanium handle. Very cool. You do have this cool milling. Now this comes through the lefty pass around group, and when it got to me, the finish was already scratched right here, as you can see. So bear that in mind. I don't know what happened to it because it's in a pass around group, so that's what happens. But this side looks really good. I like the milling. It's like a kind of like I think they call that a carrot. You see that, and then they're just like populated all across there. Really cool milling pattern. You have a single screw and in your pocket clip. It is left and right. Now we'll talk about that in a minute. You can see you got a little bit sticking out. Now if you look right there, you can see a plate. I can only assume that you take this screw off and maybe that comes out, or I don't know. Or you have to go inside the whole thing and take it out. But yeah, it's a very discreet cover plate, which is very cool. You do have two screws back here to hold your backspacer in. There is no lanyard hole. Sorry, lanyard folks. But your pocket clip is definitely reversible. You have a contoured scale, and really dig the pivot design with the square. That's kind of his thing. This is a front flipper, but it is also a hold deployed knife. Very Jacob Lundquist, Qvist Blade Works thing here, where you have this kind of squared off cutout, which we're going to talk about. It's usually not something I have got along with very well. I've not liked the way my hands have landed on some of his smaller knives, but this is a bigger knife, and it's a different story. You have a lock bar interface here. Very cool. Steel, of course. Very thin knife. We'll talk about the specs in a minute. By the way, unfortunately, as of the recording of this review, it's a frame lock, by the way. I forgot to say that. And your relief is on the inside, which looks really cool. And he kind of went with this design here, more angular, to go along with all the other angular, which I think is cool. But these are not available. They are out of stock pretty much everywhere I have seen as of the recording of this. Hopefully by the time these come out, there will be more available. Now, you do have a hole that allows you to middle finger flick. You do have, again, the hole that allows you to thumb deploy the knife. And you do have a front flipper with jimping that allows you to front flip. And you guys just saw that. KC can front flip this knife. Now, we have a cutout here. And if you can see that, that tab, that front flipper tab, kind of fits right in there. It does come back a little bit further. So when you front flip, you need to be back about like this, which I'm starting to get used to. It's not my favorite thing. I would rather grip a knife up here, but you can't. So you got to be back like this, far enough away where you're not going to get nipped by that. But it's okay. So, nice thin stonewash blade with your Kizer logo here and your Qvist Blade Works logo over here, S35VN. Very thin, very slicey. Here is our friendly neighborhood cardboard, which should not, well, okay, we're grabbing a little bit there. That's interesting. We were not when I tested it earlier. There we go. That must be the cardboard because it is obviously having zero problems now. There must be a bad spot right there, probably where I stabbed it. And speaking of stabbing, this is a drop point, but you do have a tip, so you do have a little bit of piercing action going on there. Okay, destroyed that poor cardboard, but it does cut very thin. Now you do have, come on, focus camera. There we go. Okay, you do have jimping right here, and that feels good. Now, I said before, by the way, it is a 4-finger knife, no matter how I slice it. 4 fingers here, 4 fingers choked up. Now, I've said with his original designs that I didn't like the way my fingers fit in here. Now, I have bigger fingers, so with this kind of squared off by the way, you do have good lock bar access there. I'll show you that while I'm here. With this kind of squared off, my fingers tended to hit here and here. But I have a good grip where my finger is getting down in there. And I will say it does, I do feel this, it is rounded, but I do feel that a little bit on the front of this finger. You see, look at that. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I feel that, but this is not a problem. It's not a hot spot. It's not a big deal on this one. But the money grip for me is up here in the choke up, and then this finger, which is smaller, fits in there, and that feels perfect. So for me, this is the normal grip I would use, but this one's not bad and gives you a very firm grip of this knife. It is not going anywhere. 4-finger knife feels good. The clip is not an issue. You do feel it in some grips, but not in most. Like this, I do not feel it like that. I feel it ever so slightly, but it is not a hot spot in any way, shape, form, or fashion. All right, let's put our Kizer box over here, and we'll go through the specs. Again, not available. Sorry about that. It is what it is. I'm reading off of Blade HQ. This guy is 7.7 inches, 3.25 inch blade length, 3 inch cutting edge, 0.11 on the stock. So again, very thin, S35 VN. It is a flat grind with a stonewash. Handle length is 4.45 and 0.40 inches thick on the handle, so very thin. Let's see. It does say right hand tip up, so maybe that is not a cover plate. Okay, so maybe I misspoke because it just says, man, I guess it isn't. Now that clip doesn't move, so I assume there's a cutout there, but I just see that round area. But then when I look here, it does not say. It says tip up right hand on Blade HQ. Now it is 3 ounces, so very light, nice, made in China by Kizer. This is a Kizer knife and designed by Jacob Lundquist from Qvist Blade Works. Now this is $170, $169, but it is currently out of stock pretty much everywhere that I could find. I found it in stock at one place in Canada, believe it or not, and it was quite higher priced. So I'm not going to list that, but it is what it is. You can Google search for it and see what you can find. Bigger, the Rat 1 is bigger, the Rat 2 is smaller, so it's right in that in-between happy place. Very, very cool. So yeah, again, ergonomically, I say this one passes the CEO test. I feel fine here or here in this grip. Again, I do, because of my fat finger there, I do feel that right there a little bit, and right here just a little bit, but it is not a hot spot and doesn't feel, because it's a bigger knife, it doesn't feel limiting or weird to me like the others did. This feels very, very nice in the hand. By the way, 90% of the reviewers that have reviewed this knife or any of Jacob's knives have not had an issue with that. I am the ergonomic turd burglar, I guess, and that's the reason I kind of point some of that stuff out. But this one is absolutely fantastic in my hands. So there you go, guys. All right, so I forgot a couple of things. So rather than redoing the whole video, I'm going to do a little tag on here, and we're going to talk for a second now. A couple of things. Number one, on this particular model, the detent is a little tiny bit soft. It's good, but it's just a little soft. So don't allow your finger to go all the way in. Just leave your fingernail, and it is perfect. No problem. And again, you saw me do the thumb earlier. No problem there. But it's perfect on the front flip, at least for me. It just a tiny bit. Now, I forgot to talk about lockup. No lock rock, no blade play. And this one is about 50% locked up. Again, your lock bar access is great. Your action, nice and smooth. You can see drops and shade. I mean, it is so smooth. Kizer just kills it on these kind of knives. And the titanium feels so good in hand. The grip on this one, very good, not coming out of your hands. Love that milling. Really cool. So there you go, guys. That is a Kizer Veritas or Veritas or whatever it is. I think it's Veritas because that's what Jacob says. So give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you think of this one down below. Do all the things, like, comment, subscribe, notification bell. And thank you so much for watching the Knives Fast channel.